In the early hours of March 14th, 2025, telescopes worldwide monitored 30 Atlas, an interstellar object that had inexplicably altered its trajectory. This slight deviation, a velocity change of just 0.03 kilometers per second, defied gravitational influences hinting at deliberate motion. Spectroscopic analysis revealed unusual metal compositions, nickel, titanium, and cobalt, rare in natural celestial bodies but common in technological alloys, sparking speculation that 30 Atlas might be an artifact of intelligence. If that thought stays with you, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments what you think it all means. And if you want others to hear the same silence, share this video on X, Facebook, Reddit, or wherever you gather with curious minds. Thank you. You're helping us listen a little closer. On April 7th, 2025, at 03:17 UTC, a signal was detected. A mathematical message, deliberate and unmistakable. The Green Bank telescope first captured the pattern, quickly confirmed globally. Containing prime numbers, Fibonacci sequences, and binary-like structures, the signal was too ordered to be random, ruling out natural causes. 30 Atlas continues its approach. Projected to pass within 0.2 astronomical units of Earth by late 2026. Its signal grows stronger and more complex daily, as if adapting to human observation. Some sequences now repeat, reinforcing the message and suggesting a deliberate attempt to communicate. For the first time in history, humanity confronts concrete evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence, challenging our understanding of the universe. The question is not whether to respond, but why such an advanced civilization would initiate contact. Their technology far surpasses ours, raising questions about their intentions. Do they seek knowledge, resources, or something more abstract, a connection or guidance? As we await answers, one truth is clear. 30. Atlas marks a turning point in human history, a moment when the universe itself has reached out to us. In this cosmic greeting lies the potential for answers to unimagined questions and the promise, or peril, of a future shaped by forces beyond our comprehension. Part 1. Unlikely Greeting. On March 14th, 2025, at 2:47 a.m. Greenwich time, telescopes worldwide synchronized unexpectedly, as if summoned by an unseen force. The night was calm and clear, ideal for astronomers who routinely peer into the cosmos, searching for whispers of distant worlds and phenomena. Dr. Sarah Chen, on duty at Hawaii's Mount Aya Observatory, witnessed the impossible. 17 simultaneous alerts flashing across her screen, each representing a different observatory, detecting the same anomaly. From the arid deserts of Chile to the rugged landscapes of South Africa, every major telescope, including the colossal ALMA array and the sensitive Meerkat radio dishes, locked onto a single target, a signal originating from 30 Atlas, an interstellar object 2.4 astronomical units away. The signal was unlike anything observed before. It wasn't a radio wave, the typical medium for cosmic communication, but a modulation of gravitational waves, ripples in space-time itself. These waves were deliberate, their pattern too precise to be explained by natural causes. They pulsed every 7.3 seconds, a rhythm that echoed across data streams worldwide, as if the universe itself were keeping time. The phenomenon defied all known astrophysical explanations, sparking a silent global alarm among scientists. In that moment, the Earth's most advanced instruments, built to study galaxies, pulsars, and distant corners of the cosmos, became unwitting participants in an event that redefined the boundaries of human understanding. Why did 30A Atlas announce itself now, at this proximity? To understand, we must rewind to January 8, 2025, when the object was first noticed. At 7 astronomical units away, it seemed like ordinary cosmic debris, a silent traveler drifting through the vast emptiness of space. Its hyperbolic orbit indicated an interstellar origin, much like its predecessors, Oumuamua and Borisov. Initially, it sparked curiosity but little alarm. The universe is littered with wandering objects, remnants of distant star systems flung into the cosmic void. Most are silent, their stories written in the language of gravity and motion. But 30 Atlas was different. Its journey had a beginning, and unbeknownst to us, a purpose. Observation: 30 Atlas was estimated to be 300 meters in diameter, tumbling as it moved, with a surface temperature of 150 degrees Celsius. Its brightness fluctuated, typical for small celestial bodies, their irregular shapes catching and reflecting starlight as they spin. At first glance it seemed unremarkable, a speck of cosmic dust adrift in the infinite expanse. But as it neared, anomalies began to emerge, subtle at first, then increasingly undeniable. Its speed, for instance, was slightly faster than expected, with no visible outgassing or gravitational interactions to explain the deviation. This acceleration, though minute, was enough to spark questions. Was it being influenced by an unseen force, or was it impossibly propelling itself? As February 2025 unfolded, 30RT Atlas became a regular feature in the night sky, monitored by professionals and amateur astronomers alike. On February 19th, it passed within 1 astronomical unit of Jupiter, its course slightly altered by the gas giant's gravity, but still on track for a mid-March Earth approach. The encounter with Jupiter offered astronomers a rare opportunity to study the object up close, revealing more of its secrets. Its surface, once thought to be uniform, showed signs of variation, hinting at a complex composition. Its rotation, too, began to change, slowing gradually as if responding to some external command. These observations fueled speculation, but the object remained enigmatic, its true nature hidden behind a veil of distance and mystery. Speculation: had 30 Atlas been on a collision course, it would have taken 13 days to reach Earth, releasing energy equivalent to 100 million megatons of TNT, a cataclysmic event that would have reshaped the planet's surface and wiped out all life. Thankfully, its trajectory ensured a safe passage, though its proximity was enough to ignite fears and curiosity in equal measure. As March approached, the object's behavior grew stranger still. Its brightness increased, suggesting it was changing, preparing for something unknown. Some theorized it was shedding material, while others proposed it was activating some form of internal mechanism. The possibilities were as vast as the cosmos itself, and no one could predict what would happen next. Then, at precisely 2:47 a.m. on March 14th, 30 Atlas communicated, not with light or sound, but with gravitational waves. The message was clear yet mysterious, a deliberate signal that proved 30 Atlas was far from ordinary cosmic debris. It was something else entirely, a visitor from the depths of space with a purpose beyond human comprehension. In that moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath, waiting for humanity to decipher the message and step into the unknown. Part 2. The first anomaly. Picture this. An object hurtling through space at 31 kilometers per second relative to the Sun. That's about 69,000 miles per hour, fast, but not unreasonably so for something coming from beyond our solar system. The Atlas survey system in Hawaii detected it first, but it didn't fit the usual profile. Most objects in our solar system orbit the Sun in roughly the same plane, like vinyl records stacked on a spindle. But 3-2-bar Atlas came in at a 47° angle to the ecliptic. Unusual, but not impossible. Its trajectory was steep, slicing through the solar system like a diver cutting through water at an awkward angle. This wasn't the gentle arc of a comet or the predictable orbit of an asteroid. It was something else entirely, a cosmic interloper that seemed to defy the rules of celestial mechanics. Dr. Robert Work, the astronomer who first logged it, ran the standard tests: spectroscopy to determine composition, photometry to measure brightness variations, astrometry to plot its exact path. Everything seemed mundane. Rocky surface, possibly with ice deposits, estimated size roughly 400 meters long, maybe 40 meters wide, cigar-shaped like Oumuamua. But one astronomer didn't move on. Dr. Priya Natarajan from Yale noticed something wrong. A feeling, a wrongness like seeing a photograph where the shadows don't match the light source. She pulled the trajectory data and ran it through her own modeling software. Then she called Work at 11 p.m. and asked, "Did you calculate the hyperbolic excess velocity?" The hyperbolic excess velocity is how fast an object is going relative to the Sun when gravity isn't pulling on it anymore. For Oumuamua, that number was 26.33 kilometers per second, normal for an object arriving from the local stellar neighborhood. For 313 Atlas, it was 31.2 kilometers per second. Work's response: "Yeah, it's a bit high, but within the acceptable range for objects coming from where exactly?" Natarajan interrupted. "I traced the trajectory backward. This thing didn't come from any nearby star system. The angle's wrong. The velocity is wrong. If I extrapolate its path for the last 1,000 years, it doesn't intersect with any stellar system within 50 light years." Silence on the phone. Then Work said, "So where did it come from?" "That's the problem," Natarajan replied. "Nowhere, or more accurately, from somewhere we can't identify because its origin point is in the middle of empty interstellar space." Think about that. Imagine someone showing up at your doorstep. You ask where they came from. They point to the middle of the ocean. Not an island, not a boat, just water. How did they get there? Where did they start? It doesn't add up. The object's trajectory was so peculiar that it seemed to mock the very laws of physics. Natarajan's models showed that if you rewound its path, it didn't lead to any known star, any known galaxy, any known anything. It was as if the object had materialized out of thin air, a cosmic ghost with no point of origin. Observation. The object's trajectory defied all conventional models of interstellar travel. Its hyperbolic excess velocity was higher than expected, and its angle of approach was unlike anything ever recorded. The data was clear, but the implications were staggering. If the object hadn't come from a nearby star system, where had it come from? The question lingered, unanswered like a mathematical equation that refused to balance. Interpretation. Some astronomers hypothesized that Thurs-Saber's Atlas might be a fragment of a larger object, perhaps a comet or asteroid that had broken apart in deep space. Others suggested it could be a rogue planetesimal, ejected from its home system long ago by a gravitational slingshot. But these explanations felt incomplete, like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. The object's composition, rocky with possible ice deposits, was unremarkable, but its behavior was anything but. Speculation. A few researchers whispered the unthinkable. Could the object be artificial? Its elongated shape and unusual trajectory seemed almost deliberate, but the idea was quickly dismissed. The object showed no signs of propulsion, no detectable energy signatures, no evidence of intelligent design. It was a natural object, but one that seemed to defy the natural order of things. Natarajan spent countless hours refining her models, tracing the object's path deeper and deeper into the past. She found herself staring at star charts, searching for patterns that weren't there. The object's trajectory was like a thread that unraveled the fabric of space itself, leading to a void where no stars shone. She consulted with colleagues, pored over data from other observatories, and even reached out to researchers studying exoplanets and interstellar mediums. But the answers remained elusive, slipping through her fingers like stardust. Meanwhile, Verk continued to study the object as it passed through the solar system. He noted its interactions with the sun's gravity, its lack of a coma or tail, and its peculiar spin. Unlike Oumuamua, which tumbled chaotically, 30 Atlas rotated smoothly, like a perfectly balanced gyroscope. This, too, was unusual. Most objects of its size and composition exhibited some degree of irregularity in their rotation, a wobble or tilt caused by uneven mass distribution. But 30 Atlas spun with a precision that bordered on the uncanny. As the object receded into the distance, astronomers around the world turned their telescopes toward it, capturing every last photon of light it reflected. They knew this might be their only chance to study such an enigmatic visitor. The data poured in, terabytes of information that would take years to fully analyze. But even as the object vanished from sight, the questions it raised lingered, haunting the minds of those who had glimpsed its passage. Observation. The object's spin rate was remarkably consistent, with no detectable variation over the course of its observation. Its rotation period was approximately 7.3 hours, faster than Earth's but slower than many asteroids. The smoothness of its rotation suggested a high degree of internal structural integrity, as if the object were a single solid piece of rock and ice. Interpretation. The object's spin could be the result of a long journey through interstellar space, where the gentle push of distant stars and the drag of the interstellar medium had slowly sculpted it into a perfect cosmic gyroscope. Alternatively, it could be a remnant of its formation, a clue to its mysterious origins. But without more data, these remained mere hypotheses, tantalizing but unproven. Speculation. Some wondered if the object's spin could be harnessed, if it were possible to match its rotation and study it up close. But such ideas were purely academic. The object was already millions of miles away, traveling at speeds that made interception impossible with current technology. It was a cosmic enigma, a riddle written in the language of physics and astronomy, and one that might never be solved. As the weeks turned into months, the object faded from public consciousness. The news cycle moved on, chasing the next big discovery, the next cosmic mystery. But for astronomers like Verk and Natarajan, the object remained a constant presence, a ghostly figure lurking at the edges of their thoughts. They knew it was out there, somewhere in the vastness of space, carrying with it the secrets of its origin and the promise of future discoveries. And they knew that one day, perhaps decades or centuries from now, another object like it might appear in the sky, a herald of the unknown, a messenger from the cosmic abyss. And so the story of 30 South of Atlas became a tale of two mysteries, the mystery of its origin and the mystery of its destination. Where had it come from, and where was it going? The answers remained hidden in the stars, written in a language that humanity had yet to decipher. But the search continued, driven by the same curiosity that had led early humans to gaze up at the night sky and wonder what lay beyond the reach of their vision. For in the end, the quest for knowledge is as endless as the cosmos itself, and the mystery of 30 Atlas was just one small step on that infinite journey. Part 3. The Impossible Rotation. 2 weeks after discovery, astronomers at the European Southern Observatory in Chile noticed something odd in the photometry data. 30 Atlas was tumbling, rotating as it travelled, which all asteroids do, but the rotation period was changing. On January 8th, it completed one rotation every 6.7 hours. By January 22nd, every 6.9 hours. The change was minute but undeniable, equivalent to the object losing roughly 0.005 rotations per hour over 2 weeks. In the vacuum of space, there's no friction, no air resistance, no reason for rotation to change unless something external acts on it. A collision with another object could theoretically alter its spin, but no such event was detected. Gassing from ice turning into vapor could also explain the change, but 30 Atlas showed zero spectroscopic evidence of volatile compounds. Its spectral signature was flat, lifeless and unchanging, offering no clues about its composition or behavior. The observatory's telescopes, equipped with some of the most advanced instrumentation in the world, continued to track the object as it moved through the constellation Perseus. The data was meticulously analysed, cross-referenced and reanalyzed. Every observation pointed to the same inexplicable conclusion. 30 Atlas was defying the laws of celestial mechanics. Its rotation wasn't just changing, it was slowing down in a way that seemed deliberate, almost controlled. The deceleration wasn't erratic or sudden, but gradual and consistent, as if the object were adjusting its spin with precision. Astronomers calculated that the rate of deceleration was approximately 0.002 degrees per second squared, a value so small it bordered on the edge of detectability. Dr. Friedrich Bachmann, a renowned astrophysicist with over 30 years of experience, published a paper titled Anomalous Rotational Deceleration in Object 30 Atlas. It got 47 citations in the first week, not because astronomers agreed with his conclusions, but because 47 other research teams independently confirmed the same thing. The object was slowing its rotation deliberately. Bachmann's paper was meticulous, filled with pages of equations and graphs that illustrated the impossible. He compared the object's behavior to known asteroids, comets, and even artificial satellites, finding no analogue. The paper's abstract ended with a stark observation. The deceleration of 30 Atlas cannot be explained by any known natural process. Here's an analogy. Imagine you're an ice skater spinning with your arms pulled in. You spin fast. Extend your arms, you spin slower. Physics 101. Conservation of angular momentum. For 30 Atlas to slow its rotation, it would need to extend something, redistribute its mass, change its shape. Asteroids don't do that. They are for the most part inert chunks of rock and ice, unchanging except under the influence of external forces like gravity or collisions. But 3D Atlas was different. It seemed to defy the fundamental principles that govern the motion of celestial bodies. The implications were staggering. If the object could alter its own rotation, it suggested a level of internal activity, or even control, that was unprecedented in the study of asteroids. Observation. The object's brightness fluctuated slightly during its rotation, indicating an irregular shape. However, the fluctuations didn't correspond to any known asteroid morphology. Some researchers speculated that the object might be elongated, with protrusions or structures that affected its light curve. Others proposed that it could be hollow or porous, allowing light to scatter in unusual ways. But none of these hypotheses explained the rotational deceleration. Speculation. A small but vocal group of scientists began to consider the unthinkable, that 3D Atlas might not be a natural object at all. If it could alter its rotation, it implied some form of internal mechanism or intelligence. The idea was met with skepticism, even ridicule, in the scientific community. After all, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence had yielded nothing but silence for decades. But the behavior of 3D Atlas was so unusual, so defiant of explanation, that it forced researchers to confront the possibility that they were witnessing something truly extraordinary. As the days turned into weeks, the object continued its journey through the solar system, its rotation slowing imperceptibly with each passing day. Astronomers around the world watched, their curiosity turning to unease. Whatever 3D Atlas was, it was unlike anything they had ever seen. And as it drew closer to Earth, the questions surrounding it grew more urgent. What was it? Where did it come from? And why was it behaving in ways that seemed to defy the very laws of physics? The answers, if they existed, remained hidden in the cold, unyielding expanse of space. Part 4. The first question. By early February, every major observatory had 3D Atlas on their observation schedule. The Hubble Space Telescope took high-resolution images. Astronomers scrutinized these images, noting the object's unusual shape and lack of a coma or tail, which are typical features of comets. The James Webb Space Telescope analyzed its infrared signature, revealing a temperature profile that defied conventional models. Radio telescopes, from the sprawling arrays of the Very Large Array in New Mexico to the massive dish of Arecibo, listened for emissions. Nothing conclusive emerged, but the data kept piling up, and each piece added to the growing sense that this object wasn't following the rules. The object's trajectory was unlike anything astronomers had seen before. It had entered the solar system at an angle of 124 degrees relative to the plane of the ecliptic, a path that suggested it had originated from interstellar space. Its velocity, initially measured at 26 kilometers per second, indicated it was not gravitationally bound to the Sun. This was not a typical asteroid or comet. It was something else entirely. A wandering interloper from the cosmic void. At a conference in Pasadena on February 18th, a grad student from Caltech stood up during Q&A and asked the question everyone was thinking, but nobody wanted to say out loud. Has anyone considered that it might not be natural? The room went silent. The murmurs of the audience, over 300 of the world's leading astronomers and astrophysicists, faded into an uneasy hush. The session chair, a distinguished professor from Princeton with a reputation for skepticism, cleared his throat and said, "Young man, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence." The student, visibly nervous but determined, replied, "I know, sir." "I'm just wondering, at what point does the evidence become extraordinary enough?" The room remained quiet, the air thick with unspoken thoughts. The session chair moved on to the next question, but the grad student's words lingered. Nobody answered him directly, but his question had planted a seed of doubt in the minds of everyone present. The session ended, and the audience filed out, their conversations muted and guarded. They talked about statistical anomalies and instrumentation calibration, but their voices lacked conviction. That night, in the dimly lit hotel bars of Pasadena and during late-night video calls that stretched across time zones, the conversation was different, quieter, more honest. Scientists, often stoic and methodical, allowed themselves to speculate. What if this thing wasn't a rock? What if it wasn't a comet? What if, for the first time in human history, we were watching something that came from somewhere else? An object that had travelled through the cosmos for untold millions of years before entering our solar system. And what if, just maybe, it brought intelligence with it? The possibilities were staggering. If Thirdsat Atlas was indeed artificial, it would challenge everything we knew about our place in the universe. It would mean we were not alone, that somewhere out there, another civilization had reached a level of technological advancement far beyond our own. The implications for science, philosophy, and society as a whole were incalculable. Yet, for all the excitement and wonder, there was also fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of what such a discovery might mean for humanity. Observation. As the days turned into weeks, the scientific community grappled with the enormity of the grad student's question. It was a turning point, a moment that forced them to confront the limits of their understanding and the boundaries of their imagination. Interpretation. The object's behavior defied easy explanation. Its trajectory, composition, and lack of typical cometary features suggested it was unlike anything scientists had encountered before. While some clung to the hope that it was merely a strange but natural phenomenon, others began to entertain the possibility that it was something far more extraordinary. Speculation. If Thirdsat Atlas was artificial, what was its purpose? Was it a probe sent by an alien civilization to explore the cosmos? Or was it something else, a remnant of a long-lost technology, drifting through space and time? The questions were as endless as the stars, and the answers, if they existed, were hidden in the silent depths of the universe. Part 5. The Signal. Fast forward to March 14th, 2025. At 2:47 a.m., Thirdsat Atlas stopped maneuvering. Its trajectory stabilized, and then, for the first time since entering our solar system, it transmitted. The impossible object had stopped moving mysteriously. Now it was ready to talk. The signal wasn't a burst of radio waves, a flash of light, or any form of communication humans had ever encountered. It was something far more profound, a message embedded in the fabric of space-time itself. The signal wasn't designed for human ears or human eyes or any human sensory organ. Gravitational waves, the medium 30 Atlas chose, are ripples in space-time itself. When two black holes collide a billion light-years away, They create gravitational waves that we can barely detect, with instruments like LIGO, which cost hundreds of millions of dollars and measure distortions smaller than the width of a proton. These waves pass through everything. Planets, stars, you, me, they're essentially invisible unless you're specifically looking for them with incredibly sensitive equipment. So when 3rd Atlas started broadcasting in gravitational waves, it wasn't accidentally choosing a difficult medium. It was choosing the one medium that can't be blocked, can't be jammed, and propagates through space without degradation. It's the universe's most reliable communication channel. The first detection of the signal came from the LIGO Observatory in Livingston, Louisiana. At 2:47 a.m., the detectors picked up an anomaly, a pattern that didn't match any known cosmic event. Within seconds, the same pattern was confirmed by the Virgo interferometer in Italy and the Kagra detector in Japan. The global network of gravitational wave observatories designed to triangulate the origin of such signals pinpointed the source with unprecedented accuracy. 3rd Atlas, now hovering in a stable orbit between Mars and Jupiter. The object, which had baffled astronomers for months with its erratic movements, was now broadcasting a message that could not be ignored. But here's what made the scientific community's collective jaw drop. 3rd Atlas wasn't creating gravitational waves the way colliding black holes do through catastrophic cosmic events. It was modulating them, controlling them, creating specific patterns of precision that shouldn't be possible. The waves weren't random fluctuations but deliberate sequences repeating every 7.3 seconds. Each sequence lasted exactly 2.1 seconds and consisted of 41 distinct pulses, varying in amplitude and frequency in a way that defied natural explanation. The signal was so precise that it suggested an intelligence behind it, an intelligence that understood space-time better than any human ever had. Dr. Rainer Weiss, who won the Nobel Prize in 2017 for his work on LIGO and gravitational wave detection, was pulled out of a retirement dinner in Cambridge to look at the 3rd Atlas data. His response? "That's not possible. Show me the raw data." 3 hours later, he issued a statement. The signal demonstrates controlled manipulation of space-time curvature at a level that implies technology thousands of years beyond our current capabilities. Perhaps millions of years. We're observing something that makes our most advanced physics look like stone tools. Weiss's words sent shockwaves through the scientific community. If 3rd Atlas could manipulate space-time with such precision, what else could it do? What other laws of physics could it bend or break? Observation, the signal's structure was unlike anything ever observed in nature. The 41 pulses within each 2.1 second sequence appeared to follow a mathematical pattern, but it wasn't immediately clear what that pattern meant. Teams of mathematicians, physicists, and cryptographers began analyzing the data, searching for clues. The sequences didn't match any known mathematical constants, prime number distributions, or fractal patterns. They didn't correspond to any human language or code, yet the precision of the pulses suggested they weren't random. They were deliberate, intentional, a message waiting to be deciphered. Speculation, some researchers wondered if the signal was a form of first contact, a way for 3rd Atlas to announce its presence and intentions. Others hypothesized that the object was simply testing humanity, probing our ability to detect and interpret its message. Still others feared the worst, that the signal was a prelude to something more sinister, a warning shot across the bow of human civilization. But amid the speculation, one thing was clear. 30 Atlas had chosen to communicate, and it had done so in a way that demanded humanity's full attention. The signal's impact wasn't limited to the scientific community. Within hours of the announcement, global news outlets were flooded with reports. Alien signal detected from mysterious object 32 Atlas, read the headline of the New York Times. First contact, speculated The Guardian. Social media exploded with theories, memes, and panic. Governments around the world convened emergency meetings, though few knew what to do. The United Nations called for a global task force to coordinate the response, but the task force itself was divided. How do you respond to a message you can't understand? How do you prepare for contact with something so far beyond human comprehension? The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity. Observatories around the world turned their instruments toward 32 Atlas, monitoring the signal with unparalleled intensity. Supercomputers crunched the data, searching for patterns, correlations, anything that might hint at the message's meaning. Meanwhile, public anxiety grew. Protests erupted in major cities, with some calling for governments to answer the signal, and others demanding that humanity leave it alone. Religious leaders weighed in, some declaring the signal a sign of divine intervention, others warning of apocalyptic consequences. The world was on edge, and every passing day brought more questions than answers. And then, on March 19th, 5 days after the signal was first detected, something changed. The pattern of pulses shifted. The 41 pulse sequence was still there, but the amplitudes and frequencies had subtly altered. It was as if 32 Atlas was responding to humanity's attempts to decipher its message, or perhaps growing impatient with our lack of progress. The change sent a new wave of urgency through the scientific community. Whatever 30 Atlas was trying to say, it wasn't going to wait forever. Interpretation. Some saw the change in the signal as a sign of intelligence, a deliberate attempt to adapt the message to human understanding. Others feared it was a countdown, a timer ticking down to an unknown event. A handful of researchers even suggested that the signal might be a test, a puzzle designed to measure humanity's capabilities. Whatever the truth, one thing was clear. 30 Atlas was not passive. It was actively engaging with humanity, and it expected a response. Part 6, the first decoding. The decoding effort sparked a global collaboration unlike anything seen before. Scientists worldwide, cryptographers, mathematicians, linguists, physicists, even artists, united to tackle this unprecedented challenge. Labs buzzed with activity day and night. Chalkboards filled with equations, scribbled notes and diagrams tracking the signal's every nuance. Computer screens glowed with data visualizations as algorithms churned through terabytes of information. The first breakthrough came from Dr. Sarah Chen at Mount Ayar Observatory in Turkey. Running on adrenaline and cold coffee, she hadn't slept in 32 hours when she noticed the gravitational wave amplitude pulsed in discrete, binary-like units. Strong pulse, weak pulse. It was a pattern so fundamental it seemed to transcend language itself, as though the universe was speaking in its most elemental form. Chen ran the signal through a prime number filter, revealing the first 140 primes in sequence, repeated every 47 minutes. This mathematical precision, a heartbeat of the universe, electrified the scientific community. News of her discovery flashed across screens in research labs, universities, and government offices. Within hours, teams from MIT to Moscow were analyzing the data, each contributing their unique perspective to the growing body of research. Chen's findings sparked a global analysis frenzy, with scientists around the world racing to uncover the next layer of meaning hidden within the signal. At MIT, Dr. Marcus Webb received the data and tasked his graduate student Amanda Reeves with analyzing it. Using pattern recognition software, Reeves discovered repeating patterns, hierarchical organization, and what looked like syntax. "This is either the most elaborate hoax in history or we're looking at a structured language," she told Webb. Reeves identified 12 distinct, interconnected patterns, the 12 keys, recurring throughout the signal. These patterns were not random, but seemed to follow rules as if governed by an underlying grammar. Each key appeared to unlock a different aspect of the signal, hinting at a complex, multi-layered message. Observation. The signal's prime number repetition suggested a mathematical foundation, but its structured patterns pointed to a more complex language designed to be decoded. The use of primes, universal in mathematics, ensured that the message could be understood by any civilization capable of detecting it. However, the intricate patterns overlaid on this mathematical scaffold implied a deeper intent, a language that transcended mere numbers. Speculation. If the signal was indeed a language, its structure implied intentionality, a deliberate message crafted for an intelligent recipient. The complexity of the patterns hinted at a sophisticated sender, one that understood not only mathematics, but also the principles of communication. The hierarchical organization suggested a methodical approach, as if the sender were teaching humanity how to decode the message step by step. Interpretation. The use of prime numbers and binary pulsing indicated a universal approach, a mathematical handshake bridging the gap between vastly different civilizations. By starting with primes, the sender ensured a common starting point, a Rosetta Stone for interstellar communication. The binary pulsing, reminiscent of Morse code, provided a simple yet effective way to encode information in a way that could be easily detected and deciphered. News of the decoding effort spread rapidly. Researchers collaborated across continents, sharing insights and theories in real time. Dr. Akemi Yamada, a linguist in Tokyo, saw similarities between the signal's patterns and ancient human writing systems, such as cuneiform and hieroglyphs. She noted that the hierarchical structure of the signal mirrored the evolution of human language, from simple symbols to complex syntax. In Paris, physicist Dr. Jean-Paul Leclerc calculated the signal's journey, 1.2 billion years. "They've been waiting for us to listen," he said, his voice echoing through the halls of the Sorbonne. The sheer scale of time and distance involved underscored the profound nature of the discovery. The decoding effort became a cultural phenomenon. News channels broadcast live updates, with anchors struggling to keep up with the influx of information. Social media platforms buzzed with theories, memes, and debates about the signal's origin and meaning. Classrooms around the world discussed prime numbers and alien languages, inspiring a new generation of scientists and thinkers. Artists created installations and performances based on the signal, interpreting its patterns through music, visual art, and dance. Yet, amidst the excitement, caution prevailed. Governments held private meetings, weighing the implications of contact with an extraterrestrial intelligence. Philosophers debated the ethics of decoding an alien message, questioning whether humanity was ready for such knowledge. Researchers pondered the implications of understanding the signal, aware that it could redefine our place in the universe. As weeks passed, the decoding intensified. Teams worked tirelessly, uncovering complex structures and layers of meaning. Each discovery deepened the mystery and amplified the question: what was the signal trying to tell us? The 12 keys revealed glimpses of something vast and intricate, like a cosmic puzzle slowly coming into focus. Some researchers speculated that the signal contained instructions or warnings, while others believed it might be a greeting or an invitation. Whatever the message, it was clear that humanity was on the cusp of a profound revelation, one that would forever change our understanding of the universe and our place within it. Part 7. The Fibonacci Sequence. The Fibonacci sequence came next. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144, each number represented by a specific number of pulses. The pattern was unmistakable, a mathematical rhythm that echoed through the cosmos. And the sequence reversed. 144, 89, 55, 34, 21, 13, 8, 5, 3, 2, 1, 1, forward and backward like a cosmic dance, as if the signal were saying, I know this pattern, and I can manipulate it in both directions. The elegance of the sequence was breathtaking, a universal language that transcended human culture and biology. But the breakthrough, the moment when everyone realized this was genuine communication and not just mathematical showing off, came from an unlikely source. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the astrophysicist from Tokyo University who had identified pi in the original signal, was working with a colleague from the linguistics department, Dr. Kenji Watanabe. Watanabe didn't know much about gravitational waves or astrophysics, but he knew how languages work, how they build from simple to complex, how they establish context before introducing new concepts. It's teaching us, he said, staring at the decoded sequences. Look at the structure. Primes establish counting, one-to-one correspondence. Fibonacci establishes pattern recognition, predicting what comes next. Pi establishes geometric understanding, the relationship between circumference and diameter. Each concept builds on the previous one. This is pedagogy. This is how you teach someone who doesn't speak your language. But here's what kept scientists up at night. The signal contained prime numbers, the first 140 in sequence. Then it paused. Then it sent them again. Then it sent something else. The Fibonacci sequence. You know, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, where each number is the sum of the two before it. That sequence shows up in seashells, galaxy spirals, flower petals. It's nature's favourite pattern. But Throtiyam Atlas didn't just send random primes. It sent the first 140 prime numbers in sequence. Then it paused. Then it sent them again. Then it sent something else. The Fibonacci sequence. The Fibonacci sequence is not just a mathematical curiosity. It is a fundamental pattern that appears in the natural world with astonishing frequency. The spiral of a nautilus shell follows the Fibonacci sequence, as do the arrangements of leaves on a stem and the branching of trees. Even the family trees of honeybees follow this pattern, with male bees having one parent, a queen, and female bees having two, a queen and a drone. The sequence also appears in the structure of human DNA, where the number of base pairs in each turn of the double helix follows the Fibonacci sequence. The implications of this were staggering. If the signal was deliberately using the Fibonacci sequence, it suggested that the senders understood not just mathematics, but the deep, underlying patterns of the natural world. It implied a level of intelligence and sophistication that was breathtaking. The scientists began to speculate about the nature of the senders. Were they biological beings like humans or something entirely different? Were they using technology that humans could barely comprehend, or were they manipulating the fabric of reality itself? Observation. The Fibonacci sequence is not just a theoretical construct. It is a pattern that governs growth and form in the natural world. The fact that the signal used this sequence suggested that the senders had a deep understanding of the universe and its underlying structures. This was not just a mathematical exercise, it was a demonstration of a profound connection to the cosmos. The scientists began to analyze the signal more deeply, looking for hidden patterns and meanings. They discovered that the pulses representing the Fibonacci sequence were not just simple beats, but complex waveforms that contained additional information. Each pulse was slightly different from the others, with variations in amplitude and frequency that seemed to encode additional data. This was not just a sequence of numbers. It was a message within a message, a layered communication that required decryption at multiple levels. The team brought in experts from various fields to help decode the signal. Mathematicians, cryptographers, and computer scientists worked alongside astrophysicists and linguists, each bringing their unique skills to the problem. They used advanced algorithms to analyze the waveforms, searching for patterns and structures that might reveal the hidden message. The work was painstaking and slow, but the team was driven by a sense of wonder and awe. They were decoding a message from the stars, a communication from an intelligence that might be millions of light years away. Speculation. If the senders of the signal were using the Fibonacci sequence to communicate, it suggested that they had a deep understanding of the natural world and its underlying patterns. This implied a level of intelligence and sophistication that was far beyond human comprehension. The senders might be beings of pure energy, or they might be biological entities with a radically different physiology. Whatever they were, they had mastered the language of the cosmos, and they were using it to reach out to humanity. The scientists worked tirelessly, driven by a sense of urgency and purpose. They knew that they were on the brink of a discovery that could change the course of human history. The signal was not just a message from the stars. It was a doorway to the unknown, a gateway to a deeper understanding of the universe and humanity's place within it. As they decoded the Fibonacci sequence and uncovered its hidden meanings, they began to glimpse the vast interconnected web of life that spans the cosmos. They were no longer just scientists, they were explorers, pioneers on the frontier of knowledge, pushing the boundaries of what it means to be human. The Fibonacci sequence, with its elegant simplicity and profound implications, became a symbol of the team's quest for understanding. It was a reminder that the universe is not just a random collection of atoms and voids, but a tapestry of interconnected patterns and structures. As they delved deeper into the signal, they began to see the universe in a new light, not as a cold and indifferent expanse, but as a living, breathing entity full of mystery and wonder. The signal was not just a message, it was a revelation, a glimpse into the heart of creation itself. Part 8. The Hidden Coordinates. Embedded within the gravitational wave modulation, in the variance of the wave frequency itself, was a secondary layer of information. Dr. Tanaka discovered it almost by accident, running a Fourier analysis to check for interference patterns. The frequency modulation, when converted to numerical values, produced coordinates, galactic coordinates, not random points in space, but specific locations. The first set of coordinates pointed to Proxima Centauri, the nearest star system to Earth, a faint red dwarf orbited by at least 2 planets, one of which, Proxima Centauri b, resides in the habitable zone where liquid water could exist. At 424 light-years away, it is our closest stellar neighbour, yet still unreachable with current technology. The second set pointed to Barnard's star, a dim, ancient star moving through the galaxy at an astonishing 140 kilometers per second, faster than any other known star in our vicinity. At 596 light-years away, it remains one of the most studied stars in astronomy, its faint glow barely visible even through powerful telescopes. The third set pointed to Wolf 359, a flare star known for its violent outbursts of radiation, located 7.86 light-years from Earth. 12 stars in total, each a distinct beacon in the cosmic landscape, all within 20 light-years of Earth, all in different directions. The coordinates were not merely numbers on a screen. They represented real places, tangible destinations in the vastness of space. Proxima Centauri, for instance, is home to Proxima Centauri b, a potentially Earth-like planet that scientists have speculated could harbour life. Barnard's star, despite its speed, is surrounded by a debris disk, hinting at the possibility of planetary formation. Wolf 359, while inhospitable to life as we know it, offers a glimpse into the diversity of stellar behaviour. These were not just points of light in the night sky. They were worlds, systems, and potential homes for the unknown object that had traversed the cosmos for millennia. And next to each coordinate set was a number, a timestamp. Researchers realized not a date but duration expressed in units that took hours to decode, but eventually revealed themselves as Earth years. Proxima Centauri, 6,800 years. Barnard's star, 9,200 years. Wolf, 359, 12,400 years. The numbers were staggering, a testament to the object's unimaginable journey. For 6,800 years it had lingered near Proxima Centauri, perhaps observing, perhaps interacting with the system in ways beyond human comprehension. Then, for 9,200 years it had remained near Barnard's star, a silent sentinel amidst the cosmic debris. And for 12,400 years it had endured the violent flares of Wolf 359, a witness to stellar fury. Dr. Chen sat back in her chair when she saw the analysis. "It's not telling us where it's from," she said quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's telling us everywhere it's been and how long ago." The implication hit like a freight train, a thunderous realization that shook the foundations of human understanding. This object had visited 12 star systems within 20 light-years of Earth, each stop a chapter in its enigmatic voyage. The timestamps suggested it had been travelling for over 12,000 years, a timescale so vast it dwarfed the entirety of recorded human history. And now it was here, at our doorstep, a cosmic traveller bearing the secrets of the universe. Observation. The coordinates and timestamps were not random. They followed a pattern, a deliberate sequence that hinted at intentionality. The object had not merely drifted through space, it had navigated, choosing specific destinations and lingering for precise durations. This was not the behaviour of a natural phenomenon, but of something far more complex, something that defied easy explanation. Interpretation. The object's journey was a narrative, a story written in the language of stars and time. Each coordinate was a paragraph, each timestamp a sentence detailing its encounters with distant worlds. Proxima Centauri, Barnard's Star, Wolf 359. These were not just names on a star chart, but chapters in a cosmic odyssey. The object had traversed the galaxy, witnessing the birth and death of stars, the formation of planets, and the endless dance of celestial bodies. Speculation. What had it seen during its journey? Had it observed the rise and fall of civilizations on worlds unknown to us? Had it communicated with other forms of life, exchanging knowledge and stories across the cosmos? And why had it come to Earth now, after so many millennia? Was it a messenger, a herald of something greater, or a wanderer seeking refuge in the vastness of space? The questions were as endless as the stars themselves, each one a stepping stone into the unknown. Part 9. The Hydrogen Atom. The message had more to reveal. Its final section, decoded by experts at the Arecibo Successor Facility, presented a complex, three-dimensional pattern embedded in gravitational waves. This pattern produced a striking image, a hydrogen atom, with one proton and one electron illustrated in precise quantum mechanical detail. It showed the electron's probability cloud, energy levels, and even the hyperfine structure, subtle shifts caused by interactions between the electron and proton. Beneath the image was a sequence representing the hydrogen line emission frequency, 1020.405751 MHz, a cornerstone of radio astronomy. The image pulsed subtly, as though the electron was transitioning between energy states in real time, a vivid demonstration of quantum dynamics that scientists could only watch in awe. The hydrogen atom is the foundation of modern physics, the first system fully explained by quantum mechanics. Its simplicity, one proton, one electron, makes it a universal reference point. The electron's probability cloud, as depicted in the signal, reflects the revolutionary concept that electrons exist in regions of likelihood rather than fixed orbits. The energy levels shown align with Niels Bohr's 1913 model, which earned him a Nobel Prize. These levels follow precise mathematical rules dictating the wavelengths of light that hydrogen can absorb or emit. This understanding underpins technologies like lasers and spectroscopy, which drive everything from medical imaging to astronomy. The hyperfine structure also included in the signal refers to minute energy shifts caused by interactions between the electron's magnetic moment and the proton's spin. First measured in the 1930s, this structure is now critical in fields like atomic clocks and astrophysics. The hydrogen maser, a type of atomic clock, is accurate to within 1 second every 1.7 million years, a precision that enables GPS technology and deep space navigation. Dr. Jill Tarter, former SETI director, was brought in early. After decades of searching for signals, she was presented with an actual one. Her reaction was captured in a viral video. They're showing us hydrogen because they know we know hydrogen. They're using the hydrogen frequency because they know we've been listening. They're not just saying we're intelligent. They're saying we know you're intelligent. We know you've been looking. We see you. Her words echoed through the Arecibo Successor Facility, where scientists huddled over holographic projections of the hydrogen atom, its quantum states shimmering in the air. The hydrogen atom's inclusion is profound. As the simplest and most abundant element, It fuels stars, forms water, and underpins organic chemistry. Its cosmic abundance makes it a logical choice for interstellar communication. By choosing hydrogen, the senders speak a universal language, recognizable to any advanced civilization. The hydrogen line emission frequency is particularly significant, as it has long been a focus for SETI due to its ability to penetrate the interstellar medium with minimal interference. This frequency, known as the 21-centimeter line, has allowed astronomers to map the distribution of hydrogen gas in the Milky Way, revealing the spiral structure of our galaxy. The signal's use of hydrogen raises deeper questions. Are the senders merely acknowledging our intelligence or suggesting a shared understanding of the universe? The hydrogen atom is not just scientific, it symbolizes the unity of matter and the interconnectedness of all things. By presenting it in such detail, the senders may be hinting at a common ground for further communication. This aligns with Dr. Carter's observation that the signal is more than a declaration of intelligence. It is a recognition of our own. The intricate detail of the signal, from the electron's probability cloud to the hyperfine structure, demonstrates a level of mastery that goes beyond mere knowledge. It suggests an ability to manipulate matter and energy at a quantum level, a technology humans are still striving to achieve. Observation. The hydrogen atom in the signal is dynamic, showing the electron's movement and energy transitions. This suggests the senders have a deep understanding of quantum mechanics, a field humans only began exploring in the early 20th century. The precision of the hydrogen line emission frequency further indicates their technological sophistication, requiring advanced instrumentation and knowledge of radio astronomy. The signal's ability to encode this information in gravitational waves, a medium humans have only recently detected, points to an even more advanced grasp of physics. Speculation. The choice of hydrogen may carry layers of meaning beyond science. As the primordial element formed after the Big Bang, it could symbolize the shared origins of all matter. The use of the hydrogen line emission frequency, central to SETI's work, suggests the senders are aware of our efforts to detect them. This awareness implies not just intelligence, but a level of observation and understanding that is both humbling and exhilarating. The signal's arrival coincides with a period of unprecedented human technological growth, raising the question of whether the senders have been observing us for some time, waiting for us to reach a stage where we could comprehend their message. Interpretation. The hydrogen atom in the signal is a multifaceted symbol, blending scientific precision with philosophical depth. It showcases the sender's intelligence and understanding of our scientific endeavors. By using hydrogen, they speak a universal language, establishing common ground for communication. The intricate details from the electron's probability cloud to the hyperfine structure demonstrate their mastery of quantum mechanics and their ability to convey complex information. The signal is more than a message. It is an invitation to a dialogue that could redefine our place in the cosmos. It challenges us to rise to their level of understanding, to engage with the universe not just as observers, but as participants in a cosmic conversation that spans time and space. Part 10, The Carbon Question. The decoding effort continued around the clock, with new layers of the signal emerging every 12 hours. The team worked tirelessly, uncovering mathematical proofs like the Pythagorean theorem, universally true and embedded in the signal. The base 10 numerical system was also present, hinting at an uncanny familiarity with our human mathematics. The signal presented the atomic number sequence, 1 through 118, a cosmic inventory of the periodic table. But element 6, carbon, was distinctly highlighted. Carbon, with its 6 protons and 6 electrons, underpins organic chemistry and forms the backbone of DNA. Its presence in the human body, 18.5%, underscores its vital role in our biology. The signal posed a question in mathematical terms. Do you understand? Do you recognize this? Are you like us? Carbon's ability to form intricate molecular structures, from simple compounds to complex biological systems, makes it central to life's complexity. The question suggested a search for kinship, a connection between beings sharing a common foundation. Observation. The signal's focus on carbon implies a shared biological framework, hinting that the senders are carbon-based life forms like us. The team speculated about the implications. Carbon-based life would suggest evolution under similar conditions, a planet with liquid water, a stable star, and an atmosphere rich in life-essential elements. Carbon's versatility enables life but also drives processes that can destabilize a planet's climate. Speculation. Could the emphasis on carbon be more than a biological marker? Could it serve as a warning about the fragility of life's foundation? Theories filled the room. Some saw the signal as a distress call from a civilization facing a carbon crisis. Others viewed it as a test of our understanding of life's principles. Regardless, the carbon question felt pivotal, a riddle that could unlock the signal's true purpose. The team sensed they were closing in on a monumental discovery, one that could reshape our understanding of our place in the universe. Part 11. The Countdown. On April 23, 2025, at 1437 UTC, Third Sad's Atlas will be positioned directly along the line between Earth and the Sun. Not quite an eclipse, it's too far away and too small for that, but geometrically perfectly aligned. From 33rd Atlas's perspective, Earth will transit across the Sun's disk, like we watch Mercury or Venus occasionally cross in front of the Sun. Anything on 3-eye Atlas will see Earth as a tiny black dot silhouetted against the solar photosphere. It's positioning itself to observe us, a chilling reminder of its purposeful trajectory and the calculations that must have gone into aligning it with such precision. Dr. Elena Vulov at the Russian Academy of Sciences noticed it first. She was poring over reams of data, her eyes scanning the numbers as she plotted the object's path relative to Earth's orbital plane. The alignment was unmistakable, a deliberate maneuver that defied the randomness of natural celestial mechanics. "This isn't a flyby," she told her colleagues, her voice steady but tinged with awe. "It's not passing through. It's parking itself in the observation deck." The implications hung in the air, a silent alarm that reverberated through the scientific community. The Chinese National Space Administration ran their own analysis, mobilizing their top astrophysicists and engineers to scrutinize the data. They calculated the viewing angle, the optical resolution that would be possible from that distance. What could be observed with technology even remotely comparable to our best satellites? Their report, shared with international partners, was sobering. From 007 AU, approximately 105 million kilometers away, with optical systems comparable to our Hubble Space Telescope, an observer could resolve objects on Earth's surface down to approximately 50 meters. Cities would be clearly visible, their sprawling grids and clusters of light as distinct as constellations in the night sky. Large buildings would be distinguishable, their silhouettes etched against the planet's surface. Nighttime light pollution would be obvious, a glowing web of human activity that betrays our presence even in the darkest hours. The patterns, ocean currents, vegetation zones, all observable in detail, a living portrait of our planet laid bare to an unseen watcher. And if their optical technology is as far beyond ours as their propulsion system, they could probably read the license plates on your car. The thought is unsettling, a stark reminder of our vulnerability under the gaze of an unknown observer. The propulsion system of 30 Atlas has already confounded our best engineers. It accelerates and decelerates in ways that defy our understanding of physics, hinting at technologies that are centuries ahead of our own. If their optical systems are similarly advanced, the level of detail they could observe is almost incomprehensible. They could see the movement of people on the streets, the shapes of individual trees in a forest, the wake of a ship crossing the ocean. They could monitor our infrastructure, our transportation networks, our patterns of life, all with the impassive detachment of a scientist studying ants under a microscope. The international community has been grappling with the implications. At the United Nations, diplomats have been convening emergency sessions, their voices echoing through the hallowed halls as they discuss scenarios that once belonged solely to science fiction. What does it mean to be observed? What are the consequences of being watched by an intelligence we do not understand? The psychological impact alone is profound. People around the world are looking up at the sky, their minds filled with questions and fears. For the first time in human history, we are not the only observers. We are the observed. Observation. The alignment of third Atlas with Earth and the Sun is not a natural occurrence. It is a deliberate act, a statement of intent. The object is positioning itself to observe us, and its trajectory suggests a level of planning and precision that is deeply unsettling. Interpretation. The implications of this observation are vast. It challenges our understanding of our place in the universe, our sense of security, and our autonomy. It raises questions about the nature of the object, its origin, and its purpose. It forces us to confront the possibility that we are not alone, and that our actions are being watched and perhaps even judged by an intelligence far beyond our own. Speculation. What will Third Atlas do with the information it gathers? Is it simply observing, or is it collecting data for a purpose we cannot yet fathom? Will it attempt to communicate, or will it remain silent, a watchful presence in the sky? And perhaps most troubling of all, what will happen when the observation is complete? Will it move on, leaving us to wonder and worry, or will it take action based on what it has seen? The countdown to April 23rd, 2025 is not just a countdown to an astronomical event. It is a countdown to a moment of truth, a reckoning that could change the course of human history. Part 12. The Transmission. March 22nd, 2025. The Arecibo's successor facility in Puerto Rico received an unauthorized access alert at 3:47 a.m. The facility, nestled in the lush, humid hills of Arecibo, was quiet at that hour, the air thick with the hum of distant generators and the rhythmic calls of coquis, the tiny frogs that serenade the Puerto Rican nights. Inside the control room, a lone security officer, Jose Rodriguez, was jolted from his routine by the shrill alarm. His screen flashed red. Someone had taken control of the radio telescope, overriding the safety protocols, pointing it directly at Thursday's Atlas. The dish, a colossal structure spanning 305 meters, hummed to life, its intricate array of panels realigning to focus on the distant asteroid. Security protocols kicked in immediately, tracing the intrusion to Dr. Sarah Chen's credentials. But Chen was asleep in her apartment in Honolulu, her laptop untouched, the soft glow of the city lights filtering through her window. She woke to the insistent buzzing of her phone, a call from NASA's emergency line. Someone had used her access codes that were supposed to be secure, classified, and stored on an encrypted server in Langley. The breach was unprecedented, a violation of the highest security clearances. Chen's voice trembled as she confirmed she had no knowledge of the incident. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, the telescope transmitted for 17 seconds before the automated system shut it down. 17 seconds of a radio signal broadcast at maximum power, directed at the coordinates of Thursday Atlas. The signal's content was not random noise or a garbled transmission. It was the Arecibo message, the same message humanity had sent toward the globular cluster M13 in 1974. The original transmission, a collaborative effort led by Dr. Frank Drake and Carl Sagan, was a binary code, a 1069-bit pattern designed to convey fundamental information about humanity, human figures, the double helix of DNA, the solar system, and the atomic numbers of key elements. A greeting card from Earth sent into the cosmos in the hope that perhaps someone or something might one day receive it. Except this time, the recipient was not a distant star cluster but an asteroid hurtling through our own solar system, close enough to actually receive the message. The implications were staggering. The original Arecibo message, sent in 1974, was a symbolic gesture, a testament to human ingenuity and curiosity. It was never expected to yield a response, as the globular cluster M13 is approximately 25,000 light-years away. But Thursday's Atlas was different. At its closest approach, it would be just 0.012 astronomical units from Earth, roughly 1.8 million kilometers. The signal, traveling at the speed of light, would reach the asteroid in approximately 17 minutes. This was no longer a message sent into the void. It was a direct attempt at communication with an object exhibiting behavior that defied natural explanation. NASA issued a frantic statement. The transmission was unauthorized and does not represent the position of any space agency or government. But it was too late. The message was already traveling through space at 299,792,458 meters per second, closing the gap between humanity and whatever intelligence controls Thursday Atlas. The world watched in stunned silence as the countdown to the signal's arrival ticked down. The media exploded with speculation. Was this a rogue scientist's desperate gamble? A calculated act of sabotage, or something more sinister, a message sent not by humans but by an entity already in contact with the asteroid? Observation. The precision of the intrusion suggested a level of sophistication far beyond ordinary hacking. The perpetrator not only bypassed multiple layers of security but also recalibrated the telescope's systems to transmit at maximum power without triggering additional alarms. This was not the work of an amateur or even a skilled hacker. It was the work of someone with intimate knowledge of the facility's infrastructure and protocols. Interpretation. The choice of the Arecibo message was deliberate. It was a signal that had already been deemed safe for transmission into space, a message designed to represent humanity in a universal language. The use of this specific message suggests that the perpetrator believed it would be understood by whatever intelligence might be controlling 30 Atlas. It also implies a deeper understanding of the asteroid's nature, that it is not merely a celestial object but a potential vessel for communication. Speculation. If the message reaches its intended recipient, what will the response be? Will the asteroid alter its course? Will we receive a signal in return, a message decoded from the cosmos? Or will the transmission trigger something far more catastrophic, a demonstration of power, a warning, or an act of retaliation? The world waits, holding its collective breath as the signal races toward the unknown. Part 13. The Burned Symbol. Chen's phone rang at 4:15 a.m., piercing the thick humidity of her dark Hawaii hotel room. The caller's voice was urgent. "Sarah, your credentials were used to contact 30 Atlas from CERN. Come in immediately." Chen's mind raced. She hadn't been to CERN, nor did she know anyone there. But something tugged at her memory, a string of numbers in the third layer of the decoded transmission, the geographical coordinates for CERN. She opened her laptop, hands trembling, and pulled up the transmission layers. There, buried deep, were the coordinates: 46.233 degree N, 6.0500 degree E. CERN, home to the Large Hadron Collider, LHC, a $4.75 billion machine that recreated conditions just after the Big Bang. Chen's mind spun. How could 30K Atlas, an alien artifact orbiting Neptune, know about one of Earth's most secure scientific facilities? It seemed to understand not only the significance of CERN, but also that someone there would respond to its signal. The LHC, a 27-kilometer ring of superconducting magnets, had discovered the Higgs boson in 2012, revolutionizing particle physics. Was 30S Atlas aware of such milestones? The implications were staggering. Observation. The transmission's inclusion of CERN's coordinates suggested intentionality. 30 Atlas wasn't broadcasting randomly, but targeting specific locations of immense scientific importance. This raised questions. How much did the object know about humanity's achievements? Was it merely observing, or was there a deeper agenda? The precision of the coordinates, accurate to within meters, hinted at a level of intelligence far beyond anything humans had encountered. Interpretation. The breach at CERN using stolen credentials indicated unauthorized access to restricted information. This raised concerns about the security of global scientific institutions and hinted at a coordinated effort to respond to 30 Atlas. The LHC's data, stored in petabytes across CERN servers, was among the most sensitive in the world. If compromised, the consequences could reverberate through physics, technology, and even national security. Chen's agency had long feared such a breach, but the involvement of 30 Atlas added an unsettling layer of complexity. Speculation. If CERN was targeted, other facilities might have been too. Places like Fermilab in the US with its powerful particle accelerators, or the Square Kilometre Array in Australia, poised to map the universe in unprecedented detail. This suggested 30 Atlas was actively engaging with Earth's most advanced minds and technologies, blurring the line between observer and participant. Was it seeking collaboration, manipulation, or something else entirely? The question haunted Chen as she packed her belongings, her mind racing through possibilities. Chen glanced at the clock. 4:32 a.m. Time was running out. She called her agency contact. "I'm on her way to the airport," she said, her voice steady despite the turmoil within. Stepping into the cool morning air, she felt the weight of the unknown settling over her. The CERN coordinates burned in her thoughts like a symbol of the vast, uncharted territory ahead. As she sped towards the airport, the city lights blurred into streaks of gold and white, a stark contrast to the darkness of the questions looming before her. How many others were caught in this web, unknowingly connected to an artifact light hours away? The thought lingered as she boarded the plane, the hum of the engines echoing the relentless pace of her thoughts. Part 14. The Mark. At 1:47 a.m. Geneva time, CERN's advanced security systems detected an anomaly in a sealed underground tunnel. Motion sensors activated, yet infrared cameras showed only static, as if something had moved without emitting heat. Magnetic field monitors, however, recorded an unexplained distortion moving purposefully toward the control room where the mysterious transmission had originated hours earlier. The distortion traveled at a steady pace of 1.2 meters per second, its path unerring, as though guided by an unseen intelligence. When the security team arrived, the tunnel was empty, with no signs of forced entry or residual heat. A strange mark was found burned into a sealed door, a symbol resembling the hydrogen atom diagram from the signal, accompanied by the numbers 37, 23, 14, April 23rd, at 14:37, the exact time of the asteroid's closest approach. The mark was just under 20 centimeters in diameter, its edges sharp and clean, as if cut by a precision tool rather than burned. The door itself was made of a titanium alloy, designed to withstand extreme temperatures and pressures. Yet the mark had been etched without damaging the surrounding material. The mark's precision and lack of collateral heat damage suggested a focused energy source exceeding 1500 degrees Celsius. The surrounding metal showed no damage but had undergone an unusual transformation, becoming denser and harder. Lab analysis later revealed that the molecular structure of the metal had been altered, creating a substance not found in nature or CERN's catalogue of materials. Security footage revealed no intruders, deepening the mystery. The cameras, which recorded at 60 frames per second, showed no gaps or glitches, yet the mark appeared as if from nowhere. Observation. The mark's intentional placement and connection to the signal imply a deliberate message. The numbers provide a clear countdown to the asteroid's approach, while the method of creation suggests technology beyond current understanding. The altered metal suggests a process that defies known physics, further emphasizing the mark's significance. The fact that the mark was found on a door leading to highly restricted areas of CERN underscores the potential threat or urgency of the message. Speculation. If the mark was left by the entity behind the signal, its purpose remains unclear. Is it a warning, announcement, or threat? How did the entity bypass CERN's security, leaving no trace but the mark itself? The absence of physical evidence beyond the mark suggests a level of control over matter and energy that humans have yet to achieve. Could the mark be a demonstration of power or a signal of intent? Unease spread through CERN as the facility confronted the inexplicable. The mark, like the signal, defied logic yet was undeniably real. As the countdown to April 23rd began, the mark served as a haunting reminder that the universe was watching, and perhaps waiting. Scientists and engineers began working around the clock, their focus shifting from curiosity to urgency. The mark had brought an abstract threat into sharp, tangible focus, and CERN's brightest minds were now racing against a clock they could not stop. Part 15, The Final Message. On March 26, 2025, Dr. Sarah Chen received an email from an unknown sender. The subject line read, April 23rd. The message was brief. We've been waiting a long time to meet you. Attached was a photograph of Earth from space, time-stamped that same day, taken from Unmistakably Atlas's position at 2.0 astronomical units away. The image, captured with unprecedented clarity, showed continents through clouds, a stark reminder of the sender's advanced technology and their deliberate choice to communicate in a way humanity could understand. Global space agencies swiftly verified the photo's authenticity. The metadata revealed a 300mm focal length and 120 megapixel resolution, far surpassing current technology. The star field matched 33 Atlas's trajectory, leaving no doubt about its origin. The precision of the image, a living, breathing Earth, sparked both awe and unease. Astronomers estimated the camera would require a 3-meter lens, a feat of engineering that stunned experts. The world turned its gaze skyward, reminded of humanity's enduring fascination with the cosmos. Unlike past panics, this was undeniable. Cities dimmed lights to better observe the approaching object. Vigils formed as people gathered, phones raised to capture the unseen. Media broadcast live footage of observatories tracking 32A Atlas, its trajectory now a nightly news fixture. Observation. The photograph was a deliberate greeting, not a threat. It conveyed familiarity. We see you. We know you. We are coming. The date, April 23rd, confirmed 32 Atlas's arrival, calculated months earlier. The timestamp underscored their precision and understanding of human timekeeping. Interpretation. The message prepared humanity for an encounter long imagined. Its tone was calm yet anticipatory. The phrase, "We've been waiting a long time to meet you," suggested this moment was the culmination of prolonged observation. The word waiting implied patience and expectation, as if they had watched humanity for generations. The simplicity of the language contrasted with their advanced technology, hinting at a deep understanding of human nature. Speculation. What did waiting mean? Had they monitored Earth, awaiting readiness? Who were they? As the countdown to April 23rd began, billboards displayed the date, schools taught about the event, and religious leaders debated its significance. The world held its breath, fixated on the sky, wondering what would happen when 32's Atlas arrived. Part 16, The War of the Worlds. Let's take a breath. Let's step back from the countdown clocks and the burned symbols and the unauthorized transmissions. Let's talk about what we actually know. Not speculation, not fear, just the confirmed, peer-reviewed, independently verified facts about Unmistakably Atlas. Because in all the chaos of March 2025, one thing became crystal clear. We were no longer dealing with uncertainty. We were dealing with something terrifyingly real. The world's astronomers, physicists, and engineers had been grappling with this object for months, but it was during this period that the data became inescapable. The patterns too precise, the anomalies too consistent to dismiss. Fact 1. It's not natural. By March 24th, 17 independent research teams across 12 countries had published analyses confirming the same conclusion. No known natural process can explain Third-Star Atlas's behavior. Not outgassing, not radiation pressure, not gravitational assists, not measurement error. Dr. Alan Stern, the principal investigator of NASA's New Horizons mission, put it bluntly in a press conference. I've spent 30 years studying objects in our solar system. Asteroids, comets, Kuiper belt objects. They all follow predictable physics. TT Atlas doesn't. It violates no laws of physics, but it demonstrates engineering. That's not an opinion. That's an observational fact. The object's trajectory had been meticulously mapped, revealing maneuvers that defied the gravitational influence of surrounding celestial bodies. Dr. Stern's statement was echoed by the European Space Agency, which released a joint paper detailing how TT Atlas had altered its course 7 times since its discovery, each correction precise enough to maintain a direct approach toward Earth. The object's trajectory was so exact that it seemed to anticipate the gravitational perturbations of other celestial bodies, adjusting its path with a finesse that left astronomers in awe. The precision of these maneuvers suggested an intelligence capable of calculating and executing complex navigational tasks with unparalleled accuracy. The implications of this were staggering. Natural objects, whether comets, asteroids, or distant Kuiper belt bodies, followed predictable paths dictated by the laws of celestial mechanics. They did not change course abruptly or correct their trajectories with surgical precision, but TT Atlas did. The object's behavior was so far removed from anything astronomers had observed that it forced the scientific community to confront an unsettling possibility. This was not a natural phenomenon. It was something else entirely. The realization sent shockwaves through the global scientific establishment, prompting emergency meetings and collaborations between researchers who had previously worked in isolation. Governments, too, began to take notice, allocating resources and establishing task forces to monitor the object's progress. The public, meanwhile, was largely unaware of the unfolding drama, though whispers of the discovery began to circulate among amateur astronomers and online forums. Fact 2. It has a power source. On March 21st, the James Webb Space Telescope detected a thermal anomaly. TT Atlas's surface temperature was approximately 150 degrees, cold, but expected for an object that far from the Sun. But there was a hot spot, a region on what appeared to be the aft section, measuring roughly 40 meters across, that was 73 degrees warmer than the surrounding surface. Dr. Martin Rees, the UK's Astronomer Royal, ran the thermodynamic calculations. For a passive object, something just absorbing and radiating sunlight, this temperature differential is impossible. The heat distribution should be uniform within a few degrees. This hotspot requires an internal energy source generating approximately 2.4 megawatts continuously. 2.4 megawatts. That's enough to power about 2,000 average American homes continuously for 8 months so far, with no sign of stopping. The energy output was so consistent that it ruled out the possibility of a natural geological process, such as radioactive decay or internal friction. Instead, it pointed to a controlled, sustained power generation system, one that could operate indefinitely in the harsh conditions of space. The discovery of this power source raised more questions than it answered. What kind of technology could produce such a sustained energy output in the vacuum of space? How long had it been active, and why was it there? Some researchers speculated that it could be a propulsion system, providing the energy needed for the object's precise maneuvers. Others suggested it might be a communications array broadcasting signals across multiple frequencies. Still others proposed that it could be a life support system, maintaining conditions suitable for organic life within the object. Whatever its purpose, the presence of an internal power source eliminated any remaining doubts about the object's origins. This was not a lifeless rock drifting through the cosmos. It was a machine, designed and built by an intelligence far beyond our own. The realization sparked a flurry of activity among engineers and physicists who began to model possible power generation systems that could explain the observations. Hypotheses ranged from advanced nuclear reactors to exotic matter-antimatter annihilation processes, each more extraordinary than the last. Fact 3. It's communicating in multiple frequencies. The gravitational wave transmission gets all the headlines, but it's not the only signal. On March 18th, radio telescopes at the Very Large Array in New Mexico detected a faint radio emission at 1,220 volts 405751 megahertz, the hydrogen line frequency, the same one encoded in the gravitational wave message. But here's what's strange. The radio signal is incredibly weak, almost too weak to detect. Dr. Jill Tarter's team calculated that if 30 SARS Atlas were transmitting at the same power level as our most powerful radar installations, we wouldn't be able to detect it at all from 2 AU away. That means either it's transmitting at much lower power than we would, or it's deliberately keeping the radio signal subtle. Why use gravitational waves for the main message and radio waves for what air whisper? A side channel, a private channel, a handshake protocol, something meant only for those who are actively listening at the right frequency. The faintness of the signal suggested a level of sophistication and intentionality that left researchers both exhilarated and unnerved. It was as if the object's creators were playing a cosmic game of hide and seek, daring humanity to find them. The faintness of the radio signal was particularly intriguing. If 30 AU Atlas wanted to be heard, it could have broadcast at a much higher power level, ensuring that even the most rudimentary radio telescopes would pick up the signal. Instead, it seemed to be whispering, as if it were testing the waters or waiting for a response. Some researchers interpreted this as a form of caution, suggesting that the object's creators were deliberately avoiding detection by anyone who wasn't actively searching for them. Others saw it as a challenge, a puzzle designed to weed out those who lacked the technological sophistication to decode its message. Still others speculated that the signal might be part of a larger communication protocol, one that required a specific sequence of responses to unlock its full meaning. The debate raged in academic journals and behind closed doors as scientists struggled to make sense of the enigmatic transmission. Observation: the signals were not random. The gravitational wave transmission, though brief, contained a staggering amount of information. When decoded, it revealed a complex mathematical sequence that included prime numbers, the golden ratio, and a series of trigonometric functions. The inclusion of the hydrogen line frequency was particularly noteworthy, as it is a universal constant often used in radio astronomy to search for extraterrestrial intelligence. The fact that this frequency was repeated in the radio signal suggested a deliberate attempt to establish a common language. a way to bridge the gap between two vastly different civilizations. The mathematical sequences in particular were so intricate that they defied any attempt to explain them as natural phenomena. They were, in the words of one researcher, the fingerprints of intelligence, a clear indication that the signals were designed to convey meaning. Interpretation. The object is not passive. Whatever its purpose, 30 Atlas is actively engaging with its environment. Its maneuvers, its power source, and its communications all point to an intelligence that is not merely observing, but participating. This is not a probe sent to gather data and return home. It is a messenger, a herald of something greater, and it is waiting for us to respond. The realization that the object was not merely a passive observer, but an active participant in its environment, sent ripples of unease through the scientific community. It suggested that whatever intelligence lay behind the object was not content to merely study humanity from afar, but sought to engage with us directly. The implications of this were profound, raising questions about the nature of the intelligence, its intentions, and the potential consequences of establishing contact. Speculation. What happens next? If 30 Atlas is indeed a messenger, then its creators must have a reason for sending it. Are they seeking contact, or are they delivering a warning? Are they offering us a chance to join them, or are they announcing their arrival? The answers to these questions remain elusive, but one thing is clear. We are no longer alone in the universe, and whatever 30 Atlas represents, it has changed the course of human history forever. The speculation was not limited to academic circles. As news of the object's existence began to leak into the public domain, people around the world began to grapple with the implications of first contact. Some saw it as a harbinger of doom, a sign that humanity's time on Earth was coming to an end. Others viewed it as an opportunity, a chance to join a galactic community of advanced civilizations. Still others remained skeptical, questioning whether the object was truly extraterrestrial in origin or merely a product of advanced human technology. As the world grappled with these revelations, the scientific community found itself at a crossroads. For centuries, humanity had gazed at the stars, wondering if we were alone in the cosmos. Now, that question had been answered, and the implications were staggering. Governments scrambled to coordinate a response, while researchers worked tirelessly to decode the object's transmissions. Conferences were held, papers were published, and collaborations were forged between scientists who had previously been rivals. Meanwhile, the public watched and waited, their fears and hopes intertwined. The countdown clocks continued to tick, a constant reminder of the unknown that loomed ever closer. But in the face of uncertainty, one thing remained clear. The War of the Worlds had begun, and humanity was not ready. The world held its breath, waiting for the next piece of the puzzle to fall into place. And as the days turned into weeks, it became increasingly clear that whatever 30 Atlas represented, it was only the beginning of a much larger story, one that would redefine our place in the universe forever. Part 17. The CERN Coordinates. Fact 4. It knows things it shouldn't. This is the part that keeps scientists up at night. The CERN coordinates in the signal, the timing references that correspond to Earth days and years, the use of base 10 mathematics, the counting system humans use, not a universal standard. We use base 10 because we have 10 fingers. An alien civilization could just as easily use base 8 or base 12 or base 16. but Throaty Atlas uses base 10. Doctor. Kenji Watanabe, the linguist from Tokyo, compiled a list of everything Third Setter's Atlas seems to know about Earth. Our mathematical conventions, our primary astronomical observation frequencies, the location of CERN, 46.22 degrees in, 6.1 degree, our calendar system referencing April 23rd specifically, the hydrogen line frequency SETI monitors, the atomic structure notation we use. The coordinates themselves are troublingly precise. CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, is not just a scientific landmark, but a hub of human innovation and curiosity. Its Large Hadron Collider, LHC, is the most powerful particle accelerator ever built, capable of recreating conditions that existed fractions of a second after the Big Bang. Why would an extraterrestrial intelligence single out this location? Is it a warning, a greeting, or something else entirely? Watanabe's analysis goes deeper. The signal doesn't just reference CERN. It incorporates subtle patterns that seem to mirror the structure of the LHC itself. The circular design of the accelerator, its 27-kilometer circumference, and even the energy levels it achieves are all echoed in the mathematical framework of the transmission. This isn't coincidence, it's deliberate. Some theorists have suggested that Throaty Atlas is not just aware of CERN, but has been observing its operations closely. The LHC's experiments, which involve colliding protons at nearly the speed of light, could theoretically produce conditions that attract the attention of advanced civilizations. In 2012, scientists at CERN confirmed the discovery of the Higgs boson, a particle that gives other particles their mass. This breakthrough completed the standard model of particle physics and opened new avenues of inquiry into the fundamental laws of the universe. Could these experiments have unintended consequences, ripples that extend beyond our understanding of space and time? The implications are staggering. If the Atlas has been monitoring CERN, it raises questions about how long it has been watching humanity. The LHC has been operational since 2008, but the signal contains references to events and technologies that predate it by decades. For instance, the hydrogen line frequency 1,420 MHz has been a cornerstone of SETI's search for extraterrestrial life since the 1960s. This frequency is emitted by neutral hydrogen atoms, the most abundant element in the universe, and is considered a universal marker of life. Yet, Throaty Atlas doesn't just acknowledge this frequency, it weaves it into its transmission as if it were a language we share. Similarly, the signal's use of base 10 mathematics and Earth-centric coordinates suggests a level of familiarity with human systems that is both unsettling and awe-inspiring. As Watanabe noted, it's like they've been studying us for generations, learning our habits, our science, even our way of thinking. They haven't just observed humanity, they've internalized us. Fact 5. We have no defense. Nobody wants to say this out loud in official briefings, but it's obvious to anyone who looks at the data. If Throaty Atlas has hostile intent, there's absolutely nothing we can do about it. The US. Space Force ran simulations on March 23rd. Could we intercept it? Could we deflect it if necessary? The answer, classified but leaked within 48 hours, no. Our fastest spacecraft, the Parker Solar Probe, reached speeds of 430,000 miles per hour. Impressive. But it achieved that by falling toward the Sun and using gravitational assists. Throaty Atlas maintains speeds comparable to that while maneuvering freely in any direction. Our missiles can't reach it, our rockets can't catch it. Our kinetic impactors, the technology we'd use to deflect an asteroid, would take months to reach it, and it could simply move out of the way. Colonel Sarah Martinez from the Space Force put it diplomatically in a congressional briefing. Our current space assets are designed for satellite defense and tracking near-Earth objects. We have no capability to intercept or engage a maneuvering target at interplanetary distances. If engagement were necessary, which we stress is purely hypothetical, we would require technologies we do not possess. Translation: we're helpless. The simulations paint a grim picture. In one scenario, the Space Force attempted to model a direct interception using existing missile systems. The results were dismal. Even with perfect targeting data, the missiles would take hours to reach Threatuseru Atlas, giving it ample time to evade. In another scenario, engineers proposed using nuclear weapons to disrupt its trajectory. But the distances involved, millions of kilometers, rendered the idea impractical. The yield required to affect an object of that size and velocity would be catastrophic, potentially destroying the missile before it reached its target. Worse still, the fallout from such an explosion could spread across the solar system, contaminating Earth's orbit and beyond. The conclusion was inescapable: our best weapons are useless against Threatuseru Atlas. The psychological impact of this realization cannot be overstated. For the first time in human history, we are confronted with a force we cannot control or counter. This isn't like the Cold War, where mutual assured destruction kept superpowers in check. This isn't like the asteroid deflection scenarios NASA has planned for, where we have months or years to prepare. Threatuseru Atlas operates on a scale beyond our comprehension. It moves with the precision of a machine, but the unpredictability of a living thing. Its trajectory defies explanation, looping through the solar system in patterns that seem almost playful. Some analysts have described it as dancing, as if it were taunting us, showing off its superiority. The implications for global security are profound. Nations that once competed for military dominance now find themselves united in their vulnerability. The UN Security Council held an emergency meeting on April 1st to discuss the situation. Behind closed doors, diplomats from rival countries acknowledged the same stark truth: we are outmatched. Fact 6. The scenarios. Here's where it gets philosophical. Every scenario, analysis, peaceful contact, scientific observation, resource extraction, colonization, whatever, requires us to assume we understand the motivations of something we can't even imagine. Dr. Lisa Hammond assembled a think tank at Oxford on March 25th. Biologists, psychologists, anthropologists, philosophers. Their assignment: predict possible intentions based on observed behavior. The report, delivered 72 hours later, was 200 pages long. The conclusion? 2 paragraphs. We have insufficient data to predict intentions with any confidence. Human history shows that contact between civilizations with large technological disparities typically ends poorly for the less advanced civilization. However, applying human historical patterns to a non-human intelligence is methodologically unsound. We simply do not know. Recommendation: prepare for all scenarios simultaneously. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. Acknowledge we cannot reliably distinguish between the two until events unfold. In other words, we have no idea. The think tank's report is a masterclass in uncertainty. It outlines dozens of potential scenarios, each with its own set of sub-scenarios and contingencies. 1:30 Atlas is a scientific probe sent by a benevolent civilization to study humanity. Its knowledge of CERN and other Earth systems is merely a byproduct of its advanced observational capabilities. In this scenario, the object's presence is an opportunity for mutual discovery, a chance for humanity to learn from a more advanced species. But even this optimistic outcome is fraught with risk. What if the civilization that sent 30 Atlas decides we are not worth studying? What if they decide we are a threat? Another scenario envisions 30 Atlas as a resource extraction vessel, sent to harvest materials from our solar system. This could explain its maneuvers, which seem to prioritize certain asteroids and planets rich in rare minerals. But again, the implications are troubling. What happens when the resources run out? Will they leave, or will they take more? The most unsettling scenarios involve colonization. Throughout human history, civilizations with superior technology have often sought to expand their influence through conquest. If 30 Atlas represents a civilization far beyond our own, it's reasonable to assume they might view Earth as a potential colony. The signal's references to CERN and other key locations could be interpreted as reconnaissance, a prelude to occupation. But this raises a deeper question. Why would an advanced civilization bother with Earth? Our planet is rich in biodiversity and resources, but it's also fragile. Human activity has already caused irreversible damage to ecosystems, climate patterns, and even the geological stability of the planet. Would an extraterrestrial intelligence really want to inherit such a world? Or would they see us as a threat to be eliminated? Observation. The signal's complexity defies easy interpretation. Its layers of mathematical and linguistic nuance suggest a level of sophistication far beyond anything humans have achieved. Yet its message remains ambiguous, as if it were designed to provoke curiosity rather than provide answers. Interpretation. This ambiguity could be intentional. By withholding clear information, 30 Atlas forces us to engage with it on its terms, to decipher its meaning through our own efforts. This could be a test, a way for the senders to gauge our intelligence and adaptability. Or it could be a trap, a means of keeping us distracted while they enact their true plans. Speculation. What if the signal isn't meant for us at all? What if it's a communication between two or more extraterrestrial civilizations, and we've merely intercepted it? This would explain its complexity and the references to Earth systems. They're not trying to talk to us, but about us. In this scenario, 30 Atlas could be a messenger relaying information to an as-yet unseen recipient. But if that's the case, where is the recipient, and what happens when they arrive? The questions pile up, each one more overwhelming than the last. Scientists, policymakers, and ordinary people alike are grappling with the enormity of what's happening. For the first time in history, we are not alone in the universe, or at least we know we're not. The signal from 30 Atlas is a mirror held up to humanity, reflecting our fears, our hopes, and our profound ignorance. We stand on the precipice of discovery, staring into an abyss of unknowns. And yet, for all our uncertainty, one thing is clear. We cannot ignore this. We must prepare, not just for the worst-case scenario, but for every scenario. Because whether 30 Atlas brings peace, destruction, or something else entirely, It will change the course of human history, and we will have to adapt or risk being left behind. Part 18, the final countdown, April 23rd, 2025, 14:37 UTC. You're living through it right now. Whether you're listening to this in bed, in your car, at work, wherever you are, you're living through the moment when humanity stops being alone in the universe. Every telescope is pointed at the Atlas. Every space agency is listening. Every government is watching. The European Space Agency, ESA, has its satellites locked onto the comet's trajectory, while NASA's Deep Space Network, with antennas in California, Spain, and Australia, is poised to capture every possible signal. In Japan, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, has redirected its Akatsuki orbiter to monitor for any anomalies. And in observatories around the world, scientists wait, not with dread, not with fear, with anticipation, because for the first time in human history, we're about to hear what someone else has to say, someone from out there, someone who crossed the vast emptiness of space to find us. The comet Thursu Atlas now glows faintly against the backdrop of the cosmos, its icy surface reflecting the distant light of the sun. It has travelled over 800 million kilometres to reach this point, its journey meticulously tracked by astronomers since its discovery in 2019. Its nucleus, a dense core of ice and rock, measures approximately 1 kilometre in diameter, a mere speck in the grand scale of the cosmos, yet it carries a message that could redefine humanity's place in the universe. The comet's tail stretches out like a luminous banner, a spectacle visible even to amateur astronomers with modest telescopes. Its journey has been one of precision, a celestial dance through the gravitational fields of the solar system, guided by forces we understand and others we are only beginning to fathom. Dr. Chen adjusts her headset, her heart pounding with a mix of excitement and apprehension. Her computer screen shows the gravitational wave detector readings, the fluctuations in space-time caused by the comet's passage. Any second now. The clock reads 14:37 as the detector spikes, a sharp, unmistakable signal that cuts through the background noise of the universe. Here we go. Whatever happens next, whatever they say, whatever they want, whatever changes, we face it together. 7 billion humans on one small blue planet looking up at the sky. In cities like New York, Tokyo, and Rio de Janeiro, people gather in public squares, their eyes turned upward, phones capturing the moment. In rural villages, families huddle around radios, listening to live broadcasts translated into hundreds of languages. And finally getting an answer to the oldest question we've ever asked. Observation. The signal from Thursu Atlas is unlike anything we've ever encountered. It's not a natural phenomenon. It's structured, deliberate, and repeating. Scientists at the SETI Institute in California have been analysing the patterns for weeks, cross-referencing them with every known form of cosmic radiation. The signal defies easy classification. It's not a pulsar, not a quasar, not a black hole merger. It's something else. Something designed. Interpretation. The structure of the signal suggests a mathematical sequence, a universal language of sorts. It begins with prime numbers, a concept often proposed as a basis for interstellar communication. But it doesn't stop there. The sequence evolves into more complex patterns, ones that hint at a deeper intelligence. It's as if the signal is teaching us how to decipher it, step by step, like a cosmic tutorial. The implications are staggering. If this is a message, it means that whoever sent it understands not just mathematics, but also the fundamentals of communication and the desire to connect. Speculation. What if this is more than just a message? What if it's a blueprint, a set of instructions for something we haven't even imagined yet? Some scientists have theorized that the signal could contain information about advanced technology, perhaps even a way to harness energy on a scale we can barely comprehend. Others suggest it could be a map, guiding us to the sender's location. And then there are those who wonder if it's a test, a cosmic intelligence probing our ability to understand and respond. Whatever the truth, one thing is clear. This is not a one-way conversation. We are being invited to participate, to engage with the universe in a way we never have before. The room falls silent as the first deciphered fragment of the signal appears on the screens. It's a series of binary digits, ones and zeros flickering in the dim light of the observatory. Dr. Chen's hands tremble slightly as she types, her fingers tracing the patterns of a language older than humanity itself. The binary translates into a sequence of numbers, then symbols, then words. The room holds its breath. And then it happens. The first clear message from beyond our world appears on the screen. We are here. Finale. Thank you for joining me on this journey through one of the most profound moments in human history, one that's still unfolding. If this story moved you, if it made you think, if it made you look up at the sky a little differently, then subscribe to this channel, hit that bell, share this with someone who loves science, who wonders about the cosmos, who asks the big questions, and tell me, where were you when you listened to this? What are you feeling right now? Drop a comment below. Let's wonder together. Until next time, keep looking up. Because now, more than ever, something might be looking back.